Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I figured we would do a fun little craft with me because I'm working on a new project, some embroideries, and I already started. So I already cut my fabric, drew the designs on it, picked the colors. So this is the one that I'm working on right now. It's just a little mountain. As you see, I already did most of the mountain and a sun, and then you can't really see because this is a dark fabric. You can't actually see it at all, but in black pen, because my blue transfer pen doesn't show up, but in black ink I have the same mountain on here and a moon, and I'm gonna do some stars, so they're gonna be like a little set, a little good morning and a good night. I'm making these, and I'm actually trying to start selling some of my artwork because I put a lot of time and energy into my artwork, and then I just put it away and nobody sees it, and I don't necessarily use all the pieces that I create. I have used a few of my embroideries as decor, but you know, I'm not trying to overwhelm my walls with embroideries or different things that I make. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's linked down below, and I post pictures of all of my pieces that I've made, and I'll also be running some like Instagram sales, and if people are actually interested, I'm willing to open an Etsy shop. I just don't want to open an Etsy shop and like nobody buy anything. So I'm kind of testing the water with my Instagrams. I have two Instagrams, one Instagram for my art and my crafting creations, and then another Instagram which is just my daily social media Instagram, and they'll both be linked down below. So why don't we hop on into it? All right, so I am going to get started on this. So I'm taking this dark gray thread and I'm separating out one piece of thread out of the the 6 pieces that are here, which it does take a moment. And then I'm gonna go ahead and tie a knot in the end. And yes, Leon does like to hang out when I work with anything that has to do with string. So I went ahead and double knotted the string, and now I'm going to snip off the other end, the excess string. Once I'm finished tying it off, go ahead and snip it, and then I'm going to thread the string. But before I do that, I always trim off a tiny bit of the top to get away any kind of stray pieces of thread, make it nice and flat, and it makes it so much easier to thread it through the eye of the needle. And right now, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through here and whip this stitch. So all I did was a back stitch here, and then these are just straight stitches, but anything that's on the edge of the mountain here, so right here, and here, I'm gonna go back and whip them. So basically, I'm going to come back up through where I went in the first time, which is hard because there is a little knot right there. And then pull your string all the way through, and then really simply you're just gonna go, try and get this closer to the camera, underneath each stitch, just like that. And then you have a whipped stitch. So as you can see, here's the whip stitch, and then there's just the back stitch also. I feel like it doesn't look too different, so I don't mind it. I think it makes it look a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to go ahead and push forward. So I'm going to go ahead and time lapse me doing this stitch here. So once you're done whipping it, you basically just finish off and go right back through the fabric to the other side. Just like that. Flip it over and finish off your string. So I usually loop it through part of the stitching on the back and then loop it like, and it ties a knot. Snip, ta-da! And then we have the whole mountain. So now I just need to work on the sun. These are the 3 colors that I picked for the sun. Just 3 different shades of yellow. One is going to be for the center part, one for the thicker rays, these thicker rays, and then one for the thinner rays to kind of give a little bit of color variation. Alright, so for the sun part, I'm going to do the same stitch. So a back stitch, and then I'll probably whip the center part. And just like how I didn't whip this part, I probably won't whip the rays. I think for the thicker rays, I'll do split stitch, and then these I'll just do straight stitches. So now I'm going to look at my 3 colors and pick which ones I want for which part. I'm thinking this for the center, this for the thicker rays, and this for the thinner rays. So I'm going to lay it out and pull off a piece of my string. Oh, look, this one was already clipped. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and separate one piece. So I just went ahead and sped this part up because I was talking really slow, but all I basically did was tie a double knot in the string, and I prefer to do a double knot so that it doesn't pull through the fabric when you're stitching. And then basically just thread your needle like normal and begin to stitch. So a simple back stitch, you start with one normal stitch, just like that, coming up through the back of the fabric and then back down in. And then to create the back stitch, you jump forward the length of a stitch, come up through the fabric, just like that, pull your string all the way through, and go back in where you went down the first time. Right here. And pull back through. And I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way around. After I finished back stitching everything, I went ahead and grabbed a new piece of string and just started to whip stitch just like I did on the mountain. So I just wanted to give you guys a close-up of what it looks like back stitched compared to whipped. This is me giving you a close-up view on how to whip the stitch, and basically you're just weaving the string through each of the stitches that you already made. Back down in, where you ended it. Flip it over, pull a string through. I'm going to try and give you a close-up on how I end a stitch. So you see I'm basically like whipping it right here. So pulling this through, and you see it kind of creates this loop. So I basically just go back and through the loop, and I pull it tight, and then I do that one more time, and through the loop, and pull it tight, and ta-da! You have a knot. And then you just clip the string, and it's all done. Just like that. Looking and good. All right, now to work on these. So I'm going to be doing a split stitch here. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I do a split stitch. So I'm going to go ahead and do this smaller little piece right here. So a split stitch is similar to a back stitch, except you're going to come up through the stitch. So you're going to start out with making a little stitch. Now because this is curved, I'm going to be making smaller stitches, but you can do split stitches any size. So you make your one normal stitch, and then instead of coming up, make sure I'm in frame, instead of coming up here, you're going to come up in the middle and try to like push your needle through the string, splitting it, hence the name split stitch. Pull it tight and then move up one stitch length, just like that. And you're gonna pull it back through and repeat that all over again. Because they're such small stitches, they don't have to be like amazingly perfect. And we're only using one piece of string, so just like that. Make sure that you're coming up through the stitch and not beside it. Because if you come up beside it, then you're not doing a split stitch, you're doing a stem stitch, which is different. Alrighty, so I went ahead and, oh, I thought I messed up, finished the sun rays. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to just doing singular straight stitches for each of these, and then this will be finished. All right, so we are going to go ahead and just do the straight stitches now through here. So basically really simple. Poke up through the fabric, pull it all the way, go back in at your desired length, and voila, you have a straight stitch. Move on over, do it again. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this all the way around until I finish every straight stitch that I went ahead and drew out on my pattern. And here I am just finishing off the string, just like I showed you guys the last two times I finished one off, just making a double knot here and then gonna clip the string. And then this is all done. Now the blue ink that you guys see on here that I drew my guidelines on comes off with water. So what I usually do is I go run the fabric under some water and leave it out to dry, and once it's all dry, I will tuck everything back behind it, and I usually trim it up and then I pull the thread tight, which I'll show you guys later. But now that I finished this one, I'm going to go ahead and move over to this nighttime scape. Again, I know that you guys cannot really see it, the guidelines on here, but I just did them in black ink. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna speed through as much of this second embroidery as possible. If there's any information that I didn't talk about in the first one, I will go ahead and pause the 2x speed and go ahead and talk you guys through it. But basically what I'm doing here is just double backing this embroidery and tightening it. And so here I'm showing you how I used 2 pieces of fabric and then tightened the hoop around the 2 pieces of fabric. And you want to make sure that your fabric is nice and tight so that when you tap on it like that, it sounds like a drum. And for this next part, I'm just stitching the exact same mountain the way I stitched it on the first piece. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn you guys over to this time lapse, and I hope you enjoy. I'm moved over here onto my bed because the sun is starting to go down and the windows are right here, so I figured the lighting would be better. But this is as far as I have gotten. So here is the moon. I went ahead and did the whip stitch just like I did before, and then just the same old back stitch here just like I did with the sun. And now I'm working on the stars. These are just straight stitches that I did over, and this is a French knot. So I figured I would stop here and show you guys how to do these. All right, so here I am showing you how to do a French knot. So you pull your string all the way through, and then you wrap the string around your needle once, twice, however many times you want. The more times you wrap it, the thicker your French knot will be. You pull the string taut, push the needle right back through the hole you came up through, and pull all the way in. You want to make sure you hold that string taut with your opposite hand. I'm going to show you one more time. You're going to come up through the fabric and then wrap the string around your needle however many times you want. And here I did 3 times, and then you're going to go right back into the same hole you came up out of, keeping that string pulled tight with your opposite hand, and pull all the way through. So I'm going to show you how I made this little star right here. Very easy. Pull your string through, stick the needle back in, and then make a cross just as if like you were cross stitching. So come back up and cross over. Now you have a little X, and then just basically make more lines. Now you can do 3 lines like I did on the other one, or right here. I think I'm probably going to do 4 lines, just like that. Make a beautiful star. All right, so here it is, all completed. Moon and stars and everything. And here they both are together, the sun and the moon. I'm going to show you how I finish off the back on this one, since it doesn't need to be washed like this one does. Okay, so this part is really super easy. Step 1, you're going to trim off the excess fabric. You want to leave about like an inch or so between here and where your fabric ends. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim that. So I trim the excess fabric, and then you're going to take your needle, which I had to grab from the windowsill. Take out whatever thread is left over. And I usually do this part with a thicker string, so one with more pieces. Needle is thread. So I leave about like that much, and I leave the rest of it a tail. And basically I like the tie to be at the bottom, so I start by putting my needle through the fabric. Can you see it? Just like this. And I pull it, and I leave a little bit of a tail on the other side. And then you're basically just gonna do really wide straight stitches all the way around, pulling it ever so often. Get a little closer for you guys. So make sure that you're going through both pieces of fabric, and you can go pretty wide. It doesn't have to be super close together. Pretty close together. So see, that's where we came in. So I'm gonna exit right next to it, just like that. So this is where we started, and this is where we're ending. And then I basically just pull off the needle, put that down somewhere where you won't lose it, and then pull the drawstrings. Make sure that everything is flipped towards the inside. Pull it all nice and tight. And just make that a double knot. I'm going to sit down so that this is perfect. Ta-da! Just like that. And then snip your strings. And there you have it, a finished hoop. Hello everyone, this is me editing this video a couple weeks later. and I just realized that I never ended this video. So if you guys like this video and you like content like this, it's a little bit more informational, I definitely would love to do that for you guys. So go ahead and give this a like and comment below. And of course, always subscribe. And I cannot wait to see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day. Bye.